Thank you for joining us for part 2 of our conversation with Don Thrasher. Don was a longtime music journalist in Dayton, musician, man about town.
Wrote a zine that really chronicled a lot what was going on here in Dayton. Just a great all-around knowledge of Dayton music.
He also took over the Dayton Music Fest, which he became a vital part of the scene. Yeah. So stay tuned for stories about that also.
All right, Don. So we've covered, so much of what you did coming up, your early bands, bands you played with, Guided by Voices, Swearing at Motorists, New Creatures. You also, at some point in there, started your own label. Right. You've already mentioned that. Tell us how that came about and what's been happening with that over, 30 years at this point?
It's always been really organic. It really just started as a thing to put out the 3-Drink Bag record that Greg Demos and I had done. Mm-hmm. So we recorded those. We recorded a bunch of stuff, but we put 4 songs together, put it out, and I'm like, well, we need to call it something. And it was just a name I had. It was kind of inspired by like the Beat Generation or whatever. I don't know, but Jack Kerouac kind of thing, like Gas Daddy, Go, like whatever. So just slapped that on there, and that was kind of it. And then I guess I was playing with the Hopefuls, and we're like talking about putting something out. And Kelly Marshall, one of my college roommates, had a band called Radio Bikini, and they were playing. And Dale Phelps, who I'd been in the Hopefuls with, was also in that band. So it's like, maybe we should just make this thing official. So we did, and we just were doing cassettes at the time. Okay. So we did Hopefuls and Radio Bikini.
It's like 93, 94, 95.
94, 95. Johnny Smoke, which was like a country punk kind of thing I was in. Dorsey Fife was the singer. He was the DJ at WXY at 97X. He was roommates with Dave Doman and Tim Taylor from Brainiac. Those guys shared a house on Main Street. So that was that's where we practiced. That was kind of like the hub of activity. So, Dave had like house shows there, like out of town bands would play there, like the Van Pelt from New York or Ornamental Music. I think they were like from Maryland, and he would have these little house shows. But New Creatures played there. I keep saying New Creatures, but Swearing at Motorists played there, and Johnny Smoke played there because we also practiced there for a while. GBV practiced there. Jim McPherson's drums were kind of there. So it was just a rock house. John Schmerzel lived there for a while, Neil Blender, the skateboard guy, one of the Alien Workshop founders. It was a hip place. Cool. That's famously they had the after party for Marilyn Manson. If they played the Nutter Center, they came to the house and parked the bus on Main Street.
Wow!
Yeah, I wasn't there. I wasn't there for that, but it was a big crazy party.
I did not have Marilyn Manson on my bingo card for this episode.
Yeah, that was a weird one because they were Brainiac fans.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Wow. So, that's great.
So you said there was different iterations of the
label. Yeah, so we were doing just kind of putting stuff out low key. Scott Prairie from Hopefuls was actually from Pittsburgh, and he was living in Yellow Springs. He went back to Pittsburgh. He had a group called Seven Goats and put out a couple things by them. We did another 7-inch Big Marauder, which was Matt Bowman from Swearing at Motorists, and I played. Steve Polton played keyboards, and a little garage rock band. So I put out probably about a dozen things or so, and then it kind of faltered. And then once I started playing in Smug Brothers in 2008, we started talking about doing some stuff. In about 2010, we revived Gas Daddy Go again and started putting out more stuff, put out a bunch of Smug Brothers stuff. Me and Mountains, O Condor, Motel Beds, Jasper the Colossal. Split with the New Old Fashioned and the Repeating Arms.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Did quite a bit of stuff, So we've done an Andy Gabbard tape. But the label always kind of took like backseat to like everything I had going on, which is family, work, band, goofing around, So it's never been what it could have been, and but we've been able to sell out of the stuff we've done, and put out some really cool stuff. I did a comp that had a bunch of local stuff on it, which I'm really proud of, called X-Ray Acres, and something I've always wanted to do. So that was a bucket list thing. So we were putting out all the Swearing at Motor, Smug Brothers stuff. Getting all the names wrong. Too many bands.
So many bands.
So many bands. But, we were putting out all the Smug Brothers stuff on that until recently. But we're releasing our stuff too anyway out of Columbus now.
Yeah.
We've kind of linked up with them, which is a step up, bigger distribution through Revolver and getting stuff out there a little better. So that's been nice. So right now, it's kind of on the down low, but I got some stuff probably this year or later next year will be coming out on the label. So it's never done, but it's still not super active like I'd like it to be. So
I have a few questions about some of the stuff on your label, and so we'll kind of like jump forward and jump back,
Sure.
Because we do want to get into some of your writing and some of the bands that you've been able to talk to. So there's a cassette, Man Ray.
Yes.
It caught my eye. I'm a baseball card guy, and the cover of that is, just like a 1972 Topps baseball card with an even older looking baseball player. How I mean, it's a great song too. The title, the first song, "Feeling All Right." It's great, catchy.
Yeah, they were a great band. They were a Dayton band.
Okay.
Really good. They've since broken up. Yeah, but the two guys, Joey Beach and I just went blank. Shit. But I mean, they're still active. They're still doing stuff. You know, so, but not as Man Ray. Which is too bad.
Do you know anything about like how the artwork came together? Was that their thing?
That was their thing. Okay. Yeah.
Which is pretty cool.
It is really cool.
Cool.
Yeah.
You have a newer, I guess it's a newer project that's more electronic based, yes?
Yes, Crossfade Rivals.
Crossfade Rivals.
Yeah.
So that you've only had one release.
Yeah, in
under
2019.
That moniker.
Yeah, put that out.
So tell us a little bit about that, because I listened to some of that, and so the first song, or Lost Horizon, #, or whatever. I don't know if you're supposed to pronounce that in the title. I don't know. I mean, the note I put down was like, it sounds like a cross between like 90s electronic and late 90s, early 2000s underground hip hop stuff.
Right.
Like beat making. Am I on the right trail?
For sure. I mean, that's some of my favorite stuff ever. Like, I mean, I'm an indie rock guy, but I mean, I love hip hop. I've always loved hip hop. I love electronic music. And that's like, I've been doing that stuff on the download for like 20 some odd years. There's a little bit of that stuff on some of the Swearing at Motors releases. There's a little bit of electronic stuff here and there. Like, so I mean, a lot of that stuff originally dates back to the 90s.
Oh, wow.
So, but I've been doing that stuff since the late 80s when my buddy Rob Linder and I had to rent a sampler from Ace Music for like 2 weeks. If we didn't have any way to save it, so we're basically just making all this stuff and dumping it to cassette tape.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so I have like a suitcase full of just like audio collage, weird samples, weird loops, all kind of stuff. Wow. I love like Negative Land and the Tape Beatles and like the collage-y kind of experimental music, like Revolution 9 type stuff.
Yeah.
Always been a big fan of that. So I've got countless hours of that stuff. But my mom passed away in 2018. I had a little bit of money, and I'm like, I'd like a bunch of times sent music to people. Like, let's do something. So I'd send them stuff, and they would like never do anything with it. I'm like, I'm just gonna fucking do it. Yeah. So I booked time with Patrick Himes, and went in. My brother and I went in, and he helped on some stuff, and just did overdubs and added some noises and banged on some metal and different weird stuff, and brought Nathan Peters in from Captain of Industry, Turbo Slacker, Lioness, one of the most talented guys I know. I love him. Came in and he sang some stuff and played keyboards on it and really added some sweetness to it. And Scott Bodine came in, played some guitar, and Patrick plays on some stuff, and just did this thing that I'd always wanted to do put it out late 2019, and it's turned out exactly like I hoped it would.
Good.
I couldn't be more happy with it, really. I started a follow-up like before it was even out, and then I kind of got stalled when the pandemic hit and never went back to it, and now it's gone because I lost it with all the stuff I lost.
Man.
But my buddy Jason Henn from Honey Radar, he lives in Philly, I sent him a bunch of stuff recently, and he's working on some stuff. So we'll have some kind of thing coming out in that realm sometime. I don't know when.
All right, just a silly question, because I was listening to that Crossfade Rivals record, Love Supreme, No Mushrooms. Were you thinking of a specific pizza place with that title? Anything?
No.
Okay.
No, it's just I don't know, just a reference to John Coltrane.
Yeah, I think the Coltrane thing I picked up, the No Mushroom, I'm like, wait a second.
I think it was more like that Jay Giles song, No Anchovies, Please. I think that's probably... I don't really know. I mean, a lot of them are just really bad puns. And a lot of them are also like, again, with like that stuff, I didn't have any way to save it. So I've got like hours of like where I would make these songs and just rip them to tape in real time. And they would just get like a silly name. So I would remember what it was. And sometimes those stuck. Like a lot of times they just stuck.
I was hoping we would get the Don Thrasher hot take on some Dayton pizza place that is number one in the city.
No. Oh, man. I couldn't even pick my favorite pizza places, for sure.
Yeah.
Because I love Marion's and I love Casano's. I love OE.
Yes.
I love Flying Pizza. Like,
yes.
I couldn't pick a favorite.
Yeah.
Those are some of my tops.
Yeah.
Awesome, right there with you.
I'm a big Joe's Pizza.
Joe's is
guy
great.
too.
Yeah, I like Joe's.
Well turned.
Ron's I like. It's like there's a lot of good pizza.
Yeah.
But the OE special, that's one of my jams.
Yeah.
It's the hottest pizza right out of the oven anywhere in the world, man. You cannot take a bite of that stuff unless you want to lose your top of your mouth.
Exactly.
Well, let's pivot, and we want to make sure to highlight some of your writing career as well. We've talked mainly. I mean, we've hinted at some of the writing you've done over time, but you spent after going from The Voice over to Dayton Daily News.
Yeah.
You spent the better part of 20 plus years. What was your role there? Just give us the backstory
I did
on
8
that.
with the Weekly and 21 with the Dayton Daily. So 29. I was hoping to make it to 30, but I just was kind of fed up with all the stuff, so I had to exit sooner than I planned. But I'm just a freelance writer for the Dayton Daily News. Like, once 9/11 happened, it killed everything. I don't know if you remember, but there were no live events. Nobody was advertising. Right. So the paper, which was already holding on by a thread, was struggling. Like, there was just no money. That drop in advertising killed it. So I stayed with the Daily like a year past that. And it was one of those deals where we had so little money that we had a chalkboard with all the money that was owed to all the writers and all the photographers, which are all freelance. That's how, only a handful of people on staff. And so each week we'd get together and we'd have to lobby about why Judd Yalcutt should get $100 of the $900 we owe him for these articles that he's been writing for us in good faith, And it just got to a point where they weren't listening, and I just quit. I'm like, I'm done. Yeah. And I called Ron Rollins at the Dayton Daily, and I said, man, you got anything for me? And he was, come write for us. And I really never missed a week after that. I wrote every week for like 21 years.
Wow.
Do
you remember the first story you put in for Dayton Daily? Or if not
Richley.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh,
Richley.
really?
Yeah. Richley.
That's funny.
Yeah. And that was a carryover for one I was going to do. It was a release show for the Less Than Opaque record.
Yeah.
And
so was that was Exotic?
That was second record.
That was the
first.
That was the first
Mike
one.
put out.
Okay.
Yeah. And so that was the first thing I did for the Dayton Daily. Yep.
Wow.
And like I said, I'd already done the interview for the Weekly, and I'm like, well, okay. Still, it's going to be a release show. I think it was at Canal Street. And wrote that up.
That's cool.
And so, I mean, I came in, my focus was always like on local music. But, with the Weekly, I started writing about local stuff, but working my way into the arts and entertainment guy, I also wrote about the ballet and Dayton
Yeah.
Contemporary Dance Company, visual art. Like I interviewed painters, filmmakers. Like so, I got a chance to do a little bit of all the arts writing, and I carried that over to the Daily. While I was primarily a music guy, I did a lot on local authors. I did some podcast stuff, filmmakers like Local Hook, stuff like that. So I got a chance to do a lot of really cool stuff.
Yeah.
But always like with the local thing. They already had a thing called the Rock Insider at the Dayton Daily News before me. Several people did it. Michelle from Salvador Dali was doing it before me, and she left town, and I took it over. But she wasn't the first either. And so I did that, weekly up until I stopped doing it. So that was my one chance to always have some local hook in the paper. And then, of course, I wrote about what was going on at the Rose and the Phrase and Canal Street and Jilly's and the Bright Side and all that stuff as well. So it gave me a chance to, in addition to writing about local bands, write about the bands come to town, which is cool, but it's not like living in New York or Denver or Chicago where you're getting the same quality of acts. But I got to interview a lot of heroes and a lot of crazy stuff. So,
I was just going to say, what's some of your most memorable?
Well, George Carlin would have been probably tops.
George.
That was pretty amazing. I covered comedy for a long time, but still, that's like probably one of the biggest.
How was he like? Because he's got kind of a. If you watch his stand-up stuff, he's got kind of a certain disposition.
Acerbic.
Yeah.
Well, but the thing is, his wife is from Dayton. His second wife is from Dayton. So he's got a soft spot for Dayton. So it was he was really super cool.
Yeah.
Like I've interviewed people, Pauly Shore, the first time I interviewed him, big dick, and I held a grudge for years, but I interviewed him later and he was a sweetheart. So people have a bad day. You just never know.
Yep.
Some people are easy to interview. Some people don't want to talk, but I've just interviewed so many people. It's kind of hard to keep it straight because I interviewed RuPaul, I interviewed Bobby Knight, I've interviewed like crazy people from across the board, John Tesh, just weird people but like Joan Baez I've interviewed. Paul Rogers from Bad Company, I don't know. Joey Kramer from Aerosmith, like not always the biggest guys, but I've, what's his face? Joe Perry from Aerosmith, interviewed him, Ted Nugent.
The Nuge.
The ZZ Top guys,
Man alive.
So you were saying some of your heroes. Who were some of those heroes?
Well, George Carlin would have been one for sure. I'm trying to think. I know I'm missing some obvious ones. Well, like Britt Daniel from Spoon, I like a lot. The Brainiac guys. Multiple interviews with Bob Pollard, which has been cool.
And Pollard doesn't talk to people a ton.
Yeah. That's the thing. The last couple of years, I got to do a couple big interviews with him when nobody else was doing them. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah, well.
Helps to know the guy.
It helps and live nearby, too.
Yeah.
I thought that you'd sent us several articles.
Ohio players, obviously.
Yeah,
too.
I got notes down here.
So how was that? Like the Ohio players? Like what?
Very cool. Like, I went to Sugar's house, which was crazy.
He's still in the area?
He's passed away now, but at the time, back in the day, Diamond, the drummer, and I went over and met at Sugarfoot's house and waited in the living room while he watched the Batman movie, the one from the 60s with the bat repellent. Remember that one? He's like in the other room watching Batman, just laughing his ass off. He's like, had to see some particular scene or something before he came out.
Man.
I thought that was funny.
Well, and that ties it back to you remember, Ohio players that your uncle.
Exactly. Somebody I've loved since a child, and that the fact that I have Diamond's phone number in my phone and can call him up and he'll even answer the phone. It's pretty mind blowing, Or like Kim Deal, to interview Kim and Kelly, like people like that. Huge deal, No pun intended.
Right.
You'd sent us your article, from a couple years ago. Why no Rock Hall for the Ohio players? And you interviewed like Diamond. You talked to him. I think was the main person.
I talked to him. I talked to people from the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Yeah, that's right.
And Yeah, different people.
Why? Like, what's your take on it? Because they're still not in.
It's unlikely they're going to. I don't know how that works. They're just at that weird. I don't know. I would think they should be in there already. I don't understand it.
Right.
I don't know how much stock to put in even something like that where they, give people awards for that kind of stuff.
Sure.
Because they're endlessly influential. They still play shows. They still draw an audience. They still have songs and commercials and TV shows and movies. Still relevant. But
fantastic.
it's an anomaly, man. I wish I knew.
Yeah.
Yeah. Another one of the articles you sent us was that I found interesting, and it kind of ties into, what we want to do in highlighting aspects of a particular geographic location that may have gone unnoticed or unknown. The one I thought was tragic and fascinating was it's called "Looking Back." Dayton Saxman was killed on stage.
Oh yeah.
Big J. Bush and the House Rockers. How did you get hooked onto that story? And tell us, and maybe tell us a little bit about the guy. And
during the pandemic, there was nothing going on. I had to find stuff to write about, because pretty much what I've done is almost always event driven, for the Dayton Daily, except for the Rock Insider, which didn't necessarily, but often was about a release show, but didn't have to be. But pretty much that was my beat. It had to have some timely hook to it. But not the case during the pandemic. So I got to do some more historical things, which is always something I love, And I was just doing deep dives, looking for old Dayton stuff I'd never heard, and found a couple old 7-inches on YouTube for Big J. Bush and the House Rockers. Yeah. And just the song Dynamite. I just love the song.
Yeah.
I just thought it was incredible. I was like, how is this not a hit? And just started reading about it, newspapers.com, and just researching it. Found 3 or 4 different articles about it and just pieced together this history of it. And that particular story was kind of influenced by this podcast, and God, I just went blank on it. But very much written in that where it puts you like right in the kind of the first person view of like it's really happening in real time kind of thing. And so I was doing it kind of in that style, trying to present it that way. But I just thought it was a fascinating story and just a case of mistaken identity, and. But, there was an article about the guy who had shot him, and he was just mistaking him for a guy he thought had slept with his girlfriend. And he had not slept with his girlfriend. Just wrong place, wrong time. And
there's a guy named Jerry Bush who moved to Dayton and learned how to play saxophone.
Later on, he was a bus driver.
Yeah, like 28. He learned how to play saxophone. It's crazy.
And the song is just killer.
It's killer. And the other one that I think you mentioned in the article, Funky Horns, like if you didn't tell anybody, you would think that's James Brown. Yeah,
exactly.
And you just put that on and you're like, wait a second, this guy's from Dayton?
Yeah.
Like, what?
Yeah, and you can find that song on Spotify. The Dynamite song is not on Spotify.
Yeah, it's on YouTube, though.
Yeah, and but that was just a great source of finding just like all this great shit that you didn't know. Like this group Dean and Gene from back in the day, which I wrote about too, like a man-woman duo that did really great stuff. And just there was so much stuff that, just people don't know about today. It kind of slips away, and definitely nice. And I have, like I said, I have a giant playlist on Spotify that has everything from the Mills Brothers to Dean and Gene to this, to current day stuff.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you've written about some of this stuff because it brings to light some of these stories that may have otherwise been forgotten.
Yeah, because people know about Ohio Players. They know about Zap and Heat Wave, but they don't always know about Platypus or Dayton or some of these other bands that were also
Lakeside,
and the Dayton Sidewinders, and things like that.
Steve Arrington.
Yeah, he had a number of different bands.
Yeah,
he was in Slave and
Steve Arrington's Hall of Fame.
I think Aura was another one that maybe he had. He had quite a few. He was very prolific. I think he still does.
I think he still does as well. Yeah. He was on. What's the? It's one of those like hip hop guys labels. Is it Peanut Butter Wolf?
Yes, they did a reissue of some.
Yeah, they did some of that stuff. Why am I blanking on the name of that label right now? I'll figure it out.
Meet Me in the City, sponsored by Twisted River Coffee Roaster. Twisted River offers an unpretentious approach to specialty coffee. Visit twistedrivercoffee.com and use promo code INTHECITY at checkout to receive a one-time discount of 10% off your entire order.
This episode of Meet Me in the City has been recorded at B&G Cigar Lounge, your home away from home, located in West Carrollton, Ohio. You can find them at 319 West Central Avenue. They have an ample humidor, all of the supplies you can need for your cigar smoking pleasure. We hope that you will stop by and support them as they are supporting us on this journey. There's another story. Again, this is kind of like left field sort of thing, but I'm curious to hear how you even found out about this guy named David Harvey. The title of the article is Dayton Native Recalls Journey from Parkside Homes to Gibson Master Luthier.
Yes. It's an amazing story.
Pretty crazy story.
Yeah.
So tell us, how'd you find out about this guy, David Harvey?
I want to say from Joe Mullins, if you know Joe Mullins from Radio Ramblers and the radio station, Roots Radio.
Out of Xenia, right?
Out of Xenia. He's an amazing guy. You know, second generation bluegrass guy. His dad was bluegrass broadcaster and musician, Moon Mullins. And
we did that one bluegrass festival one year, and he came out and they played and promoted us on his radio station.
Yeah,
great player.
He's Joe's a superstar, like really in the bluegrass world.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? His band's really good. He's an IBMA award winner. You know. And he's just like, you should talk to this guy, David Harvey. I mean, he's the real deal. And he's the real deal. I mean, he grew up in Dayton with Red Allen and the Allen brothers, you know, and all that stuff.
Deep
Harley
in the
Allen,
bluegrass scene.
Mm-hmm. And his dad was also a musician, you know, just working class Dayton guy. And found his way down to Nashville and working for Gibson, and now he's like the guy.
Yeah, I think it's the last 16 years he's like the master luthier. Like he's the that's guy. Where the buck stops.
Yeah.
With building Gibson mandolins, which is nuts that he came through Dayton and ended up. And I'm again glad you found out about him to highlight him. I found a couple of he's a great player too.
He's great. He's a great musician. He still performs. It's like one of those things, like all those guys in the bluegrass world. Like you can't fake your way through that stuff. You've got to be a real deal. Most of those guys play 5 or 6 instruments.
Right.
Too. Yeah. It's like they may rip on the mandolin, but they'll do the same on the banjo or guitar or whatever.
That's crazy.
Or fiddle. It doesn't matter. Yeah.
I think that's one thing that we're finding out and we're digging into is this convergence of different music and different genres and everything. And for whatever reason, Dayton, you have the Appalachian people coming in, and your bluegrass. You have the funk coming out of Dayton.
Yeah.
You have the new wave coming. You know, it's just amazing. You know, we're trying to figure out how that all happened. You know,
right.
And why. You know, was it GM and
well, it absolutely was.
And,
it's the Great Migration. You know,
Yeah.
everybody came from the South to get those better paying jobs.
Right.
And for the first time, they had money where their kids could get instruments and they could take lessons to play guitar and stuff like that. Where, you know, a lot of times before, I mean, people obviously in the holler were playing instruments too, but it's not like they had disposable cash to really throw it around and spend it like they kind of did. And just like all those people in the R&B world and the bluegrass world before there was even funk, you know, they were working day jobs, working hard, partying hard, playing music, you know what I mean? And it was,
that's why none of those records from that era you find are in good shape because they were all getting spun like nonstop.
Exactly. It was they were working hard, but they were trying to have a good time. And, you know, music is always the great backdrop for that stuff.
Yeah,
so.
very much.
Kind of like piggybacking off this, so keeping with the writing theme, you put together an article on Guided by Voices. I know we've talked about them a ton already, but your article last year that you did on the occasion of the 40th anniversary, Reaching 40, I think is a great primer and intro to anybody who's curious about the band or isn't sure. I mean, because honestly, the where do you start
right,
with that catalog? Like, there's no real obvious
exactly
endpoint. But I think that article does a great job. One thing we've talked about is, even with the emerging scene in Dayton, all the bands that are hitting it, the Brainiacs, the Breeders, the Guided by Voices, there's Hair Arena, there's Nutter Center, and then there's Canal Street Tavern.
Right.
And Pollard in that article says of the show last year, they did this 40th anniversary show at the Masonic Temple, which Sean and I were at that show. You were there. It was a great show. We were there night one with Dinosaur Jr.
Nice,
yeah. It was a great show. He said in the article that there really aren't many venues to support something like that, which, for those of us sitting around the table that have been around the scene for 30 plus years, there is sort of like, why do you think that we never got that mid-level venue that would go from, you have Canal Street, and there's a few other clubs that were a little bit bigger than that, but then it was like a big jump. Yeah, it was a big jump.
I just don't know if we've ever had the audience to support that.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's the main thing. I mean, it's hard to know because they never came here.
Right.
It's always we're what? Fourth choice or whatever,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
they're going to go to Indy or Columbus or Cincinnati or
Yeah.
Cleveland
or even Lexington or Louisville.
Right.
That's what we were talking about when we were doing the Dayton Music Fest. We couldn't bring those bands that are that
Yes.
next level. You didn't have anywhere to put them.
Yeah.
You didn't have anywhere. And then, and then we were talking about why some of these bands didn't make it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you don't have a place to showcase them
Right.
for an A&R guy to come and see them.
Yeah.
in Dayton.
Exactly.
So,
And the booking agents just don't want to do it. Like, excuse me, Drive-By Truckers played at the Masonic a few years ago.
Right.
And they'd only played Dayton once before at the Night Owl when
wow.
when Pizza Deliverance came out,
Wow.
like way a long time ago. And Patterson's like, well, we love Dayton. We didn't come here just because we were never booked here. It wasn't our choice. It's just like it's not on the map, which is sad, but it's just they're going to go to Cincinnati and Columbus every time. That's where the money is.
Right.
Well,
And we're just lucky that Mick had such great taste and connections that he was bringing top level stuff, but it still wasn't easy. You know what I mean?
Right.
To bring some of these names to town, and these are guys that were playing every market. They were playing the big markets, but they also had to play the mid market because they weren't playing the bigger venues in Cincinnati or Columbus. So Dayton's going to work for somebody like Bill Kirchen or somebody like that, as opposed to, I don't know, whoever's playing Hera, Ted Nugent.
Ted Nugent. Yeah, I think that we've talked about this a bunch. Recently as we think about getting this podcast going, it was pretty real. I mean, we've got the outdoor venues now with the Phrase and the Rose that are sort of those mid-tier levels, but Dan and I went to go see Crowded House in September at the Rose, and it was like half empty.
Oh,
Yeah.
And I thought, well,
Crazy.
this is probably why we don't get
Nobody's
bands.
coming through.
Yeah, because and it was a Tuesday night, I think. So
But
or
hadn't
Wednesday
they?
night.
It was a reschedule from the
Right.
year
It
before.
was, yeah. So we were shocked. I mean,
I love those guys. You would think that they'd
huge
be able
band.
to
They're
bring
great.
Rose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's why
I mean, I think that's the
But
reality.
they had played Columbus a couple nights before that.
Yeah.
So
you
I mean, I think part of it's just the fan base for that in Dayton is not so big. Like you get the lead out to the Phrase or Rose, those bands are going to sell out the Pink Floyd tour and
Rip
tribute.
Floyd,
Right.
yeah.
Like they sell it out every year. They sell out the Rose. They do it everywhere they go.
Right.
Yeah.
But Crowded House with great songs and a history, not so
Right.
much.
It's nuts.
Crazy.
It is crazy. Well, we want to talk about kind of your current project. We've hinted around at Smug Brothers. We'd had a chance to watch that latest video that you put out for your. It's an
really
EP,
cool.
right? Or is that
That
on the
was from
rest
an EP,
full?
yeah, it
Okay,
was
the most recent EP that just came out
Yeah.
this past summer, 2024.
Yeah.
Javelina Nowhere. Did I pronounce that
Javelina.
right? Javelina. Okay, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
But and it looks like that's a series of videos. You've had a couple that
We
were
did three, yeah.
You're kind of the character
Yeah.
in the video.
Yeah. The
Tell
first
us-
one was called Pablo Icarus, and
Yes.
so that's the character I'm playing. But that was the first song, and that was from an EP. The EP we did 2 years ago. Last year we did the album in the Book of Bad Ideas, and that's where the second song was from. So yeah, they're based on films. The first one was based on A Hard Day's Night, and it's just a riff on Ringo walking hungover by the river, and we kind of recreated that. In the first one, he does like a selfie, and so it's just kind of a riff on that. But just had this costume with these boots and the jacket and all this stuff, and had always had an idea of somewhere in the back of my head that to do this thing, and we just finally got to a point when Ryan Schaefer joined the band that he is a great filmmaker and edits and shoots and all that stuff. So I have a million ideas, but not a way to always realize them.
Yeah.
So suddenly I can just throw out these crazy ideas, and he's like, "Oh, we can do that." And so we shot them on an iPhone, and
Really?
just around town. That was part of it. Was bright colors, Dayton centric.
Yes.
And just take a film idea and spin on it. So the second one was a riff on the movie Slacker by Richard Linklater, which is set in Austin, Texas, and it just goes from one character to another. But we just picked kind of our favorite scenes from that and linked them together in this little movie, and which actually got accepted into a film festival down in Austin. Just played last month in a film festival.
That's awesome.
In the short film category. And then the third one was like a Wes Anderson homage.
I have, I mispronounced it, obviously, Javelina, but then I have Wes Anderson-esque.
Yeah.
Is the first note I have.
Yeah.
Which is very obvious, I think.
And
but cool.
And we didn't know because Kyle actually got that Javelina from a Wes Anderson movie. So Royal Tenenbaums. He says a reference to the Javelina and Royal Tenenbaums.
Okay.
And so we'd already decided to do the video for Wes Anderson before we even realized that's the song we were going to do.
That's cool.
So it all just kind of synced together. And really, I think kind of the earlier stuff we'd done in the first two wasn't un-Wes Anderson-ish to begin with. Like, we're all huge Wes Anderson fans.
Yeah.
So that was kind of the theme to tie them together. And then, so we're now cutting it together into a short film. We've got a few extra clips, and it'll be cut together in like a little 15-minute little movie.
That's great.
So, it's kind of cool to have an idea and actually have it work out.
Yeah.
And I'm not really comfortable being on camera, but I think it worked out. It
looks great.
pretty easy. And
looked awesome.
so
And like we had said, we're going to put links to a bunch of this stuff once we get
appreciate that.
everything
So
up and running.
our next one's going to be black and white. We're doing a French New Wave takeoff on the films and on the next one. So
Nice. Well, no, I don't want to get too far because we're focused on Dayton as we get this thing going. And man, that last video, the Javelina Nowhere, you come out from what is now Canal Street Deli.
Yep.
Which we all talked about Canal Street Tavern. That's where Canal Street Tavern was. And then you've got Cybertechnics in their studio that's been still around, right? He's still recording
He's still
there.
there since 1969.
Crazy.
Phil Mahaffey's been there the whole time.
Yeah,
Really?
and you can. We recorded there the band that I was in, and he's still doing tape, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
He does do digital, but
Does
he
he
does
do
still
digital?
tape.
Okay.
Yep.
You got Elsa's.
Yep.
If you ever had a bad one. Oof. Right Cycle Company's in there. The Zap Mural. Hasty Tasty.
Yep.
Capri Lanes. I was surprised you had Capri Lanes in there. That's a memory for me. Carillon Tower. Marion's Pizza.
Yep.
And of course, Wright Patterson Air Force
And
Base.
Sears
there.
out of
Sears.
the-
Yeah.
Salem Mall.
That's
Yep.
right. So
Yep.
many like Dayton. It's like watching my whole life flash before me in like 3 minutes. It was so much fun for me to watch.
Very cool.
That was the idea.
Yeah,
Did we say Spaghetti Warehouse? That's in there.
Yeah, that's in there
That's
too.
in
Yeah,
there, too,
yep,
yeah.
that's in there. Yeah, I didn't get everything down.
Yeah, there's a lot though, but yeah, we hit all over the place on that.
Yeah.
West
So
side,
with
east side.
With the Smug Brothers, like, are you guys writing together? Or is someone bringing the song?
Kyle
in?
Melton writes all the songs.
He writes all the songs.
He writes all the songs, and he is a writing machine. We're recording December 7th, and he sent me 15 songs, I think,
Wow.
for consideration. We're not going to record all those,
Right.
obviously. I think the most we've done in the day is 10.
10 in one day.
Yeah.
Just
Wow.
for moving.
Yeah, because we don't practice them. He just sends me the demos. We listen to them, and then we get together and we record them. That's the way I worked with Dave. That's when I, did like I'm a Scientist and Gold Star for Robot Boy with Bob. It's just we went to Mitch's house, and it's like it goes like this, and you play it and record it on the 4-track and build on it from there. And yeah, I mean, we've always worked fast. The first time Kyle and I got together, he's like, "You want to come over and write some songs?" Sure, let's just do it. And he showed me some songs, and we recorded stuff, and we released pretty much everything not everything, but a lot of stuff.
That's awesome.
And I've been with, we started in 2008, so I've been with Smug Brothers twice as long as like any other band in life.
I was thinking that same thing when you said that. I was like, that's the longest band you've been in.
We've had 3 bass players, 3 lead guitarists, and Kyle and I since 2008. But
I think the EP sounds great.
Yeah.
You mentioned the Who, and I'm like, the Who just pops out to me, especially on Seamus and the Younger.
Yeah.
It's like, wow. It's very cool. It's really catchy stuff, I think. It sounds really good.
Yeah.
I really liked it a lot.
So you're recording. What else? As we record this, I don't know when this is going to actually release, but you have a show tonight.
We do. It'll be our last show of the year, so that'll be good.
Yeah.
Cafe Bourbon Street in Columbus with the Non-Bruises and Sam Brown. That'll be fun. For a while, we'd been kind of on a lull. Like 2019, we played 3 shows. 2018, we played 3 shows. And then obviously 2020, we played none.
Yeah.
2021, we played none. So we've been slowly ramping up. But this year, we played the Levitt, we played Dayton Music Fest, we played 2 music festivals in Columbus. We got up to Cleveland 3 times, I guess. We played Buffalo for the first time. We got up and played Brooklyn for the first time. Went back to Philly. Played Pittsburgh for the first time this year, but I think our 3rd time in Pittsburgh. It's
moving this year.
It's been good.
Yeah,
it's been
nice.
We've got a good solid lineup and working hard, and it's going good. It's playing indie rock in the year 2024, which it's not Taylor Swift. It's not whatever. I don't know. It's not what the kids want, but there's still
some kids.
still a fan base out there for it.
I think so.
Kids our age, and older.
As I was going back and listening to especially a bunch of the stuff, the Smug Brothers stuff, but also the stuff on your label, like it just made me want to dig back into local music scenes. Not that I have completely detached from it, but it's just a good reminder that, man, there are still people out there who are making music for the love of making music.
Right.
Period.
Yeah.
And that's still cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Absolutely. And, as somebody who covered Dayton music for 30 years, it's pretty amazing because, I literally never had any shortage of stuff to write about. There was always something new coming out, especially in the last, 10 years. It's like with the CD and then with streaming, it's like so easy now. People drop singles like crazy, especially in like the pop world and the hip hop world. There are acts today in Dayton that just singles out the yin yang.
Yeah.
There's this guy Jay Fletch who's like a lo-fi hip hop guy, instrumental beats kind of stuff. Drops singles every week almost, just like ungodly amount.
Your son's a DJ too, right?
He's a rapper, DJ, producer, stuff. He hasn't really performed since before the pandemic, but he still makes music. And
that's awesome.
He's not booking shows either, which he did for a long time. He's kind of, I think, burned out on that.
Yeah.
Hip hop world, it's tough booking shows.
Different, yeah. It's different.
The venues don't want them because there's fights, and there really are fights. They're a bunch of knuckleheads sometimes, spending so much time in Canal Street, like that just didn't happen. Mick didn't put up with fights. It was a professional thing. You came there, if you're hassling people, you'll be thrown out. Like Bob getting banned or Jeremy Frederick getting banned for raising too much hell.
Right,
like, you're not coming in. You got to prove yourself.
Yeah.
It might take years before he lets you back in.
I remember Mick
it's
yelling
a
at
listening
people on the way
room.
out the door.
It's a listening room. Like if you're not going to listen, you don't need to be here.
Yeah.
And so there just wasn't a lot of that. But even at the punk rock shows I was going to, there were occasionally fights, but not that much.
Yeah.
Not that much.
No.
Don, where can we'll put links, in all the appropriate places, but where's the best place to find out what you're up to with music and everything you have going on now?
I guess the Smug Brothers Facebook page. There's like a link tree there that's got all our stuff on it.
Yeah.
We actually do have a website in development for the first time ever, but we're not there yet.
Yeah.
We'll probably be launching that next year sometime. We have a new record coming out in the summer. We just got that mastered. That'll be out on Anyway in June. We'll start releasing singles from that in the spring, working on a new video. So, yeah, after this show, we're done till April.
Okay.
So
Wow.
yeah.
And then your label is hooked up with Bandcamp, Gas Daddy Go.
Yep, you can find all that stuff on Bandcamp. The Smug Brothers and the Gas Daddy Go stuff is all streaming on there. And that's probably the best route.
Awesome. Very cool.
Well, thank you so much
Yeah,
for being on here.
Happy to do it, man.
I think that there might be a part 2 or 3, however we break this up. We didn't even and I'm true to this. Before we sat down, I said I have 3 pages of notes. We've hit on most of it, but there was nothing on the Dayton Music Fest.
Yeah.
And Dan alluded
So
to it
we'll
earlier.
have
I know that, and you mentioned Kyle Melton, your partner in crime, Smug Brothers. You and Kyle had taken it over after Dan and Sean and myself, to some level, were involved. And so there's a whole bunch of history there that we'd like to have you back and talk more about
absolutely.
it.
Yeah, and we're going to do a hard hit on Canal Street, kind of the history. And it sounds like you have.
You may have spent a little bit of time in that room.
I did, yeah. Just briefly, I mean, my first date with my wife was at Canal Street.
Oh, wow.
First time I ever kissed my wife in Canal Street in one of those seats.
It's the first time I ever kissed Sean's wife, too.
I don't know
That's
who
weird.
makes out at Canal Street, but I did kiss my wife there. So yeah.
Well, something worked. That
It
magic.
does. I
And you
mean-
said how many years now that you've been married?
36.
Pretty
Nice.
good.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
That's awesome.
There
Yeah,
you go.
it's all good. Yeah, but I've had so many great times in Canal Street. I've had some terrible shows there, and we'll save that.
Yeah.
But the worst shows of my life were at Canal Street, and some of the best shows.
Yeah.
But I'll
Nice.
recount my horror stories there for you, and they're quite enjoyable.
That sounds awesome.
We look forward to that.
Yeah. So
The
next
greatest
time.
misses of Canal Street.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you can't. This town wouldn't be what it is without that.
No,
No.
not at
Yeah,
all.
I think we agree.
Well, good luck on your show tonight.
Yeah.
Thank you
Have
so
fun.
much.
Thanks
Yeah,
for having us,
for
Don.
taking
Pray it
time.
doesn't snow.
Yeah,
Yes.
no kidding.
All right. Thanks,
And
Tom.
I can't believe Mitch Mitchell is up after me. I'm
Woo!
honored to be here. Good company.
Got them stacked up.
I hope you have more than one cigar, Mitch, because we're going.
He's got a few.
Don, thanks
We
again,
have
man.
some
We'll see you
Happy
soon.
to do it.
Thanks.
Thanks, guys.
Can we get a couple pictures?
Sure
with you
thing, man.
before